I told you they'd be back. This here is a very large, very dirty and dusty gaming PC. This thing has been sitting for quite a while in a house where it has not been used at all, and it has been allowed to collect dust. In fact, when it was used, it was still collecting dust because there's tons of dust caked in the radiator, which means that the fans were turning at one point, gathering all that grime and dirt. And in this video, we're gonna deep clean it. This video is sponsored by Karma, an app and Chrome extension that ensures you'll never miss a price drop or coupon code when shopping for your favorite items. Formerly Shop Tagger, Karma can be used to track prices for Amazon and other e-retailer listings, meaning you'll know when the time is right to pull the trigger on that favorite PC component. In my case, I've been using it to track the price of RAM, which has been a bit all over the place lately. If I find a kit that I like, I can click this slider off to the right and specify parameters for notifications to be sent via push or email. So if this listing experiences any price change, Karma will notify me and I can better decide if it's the right time to buy. You can create wish lists for these products to better organize them and shop more efficiently, and the Chrome extension will even apply relevant coupon codes automatically at checkout. It's literally that simple. Karma is a peace of mind tool for smarter shopping on the go, and if that doesn't excite you enough, there's even a chance to earn cash via PayPal for shopping at select retail partners. I told you it gets better. So be sure to click the link below for a smarter shopping experience with both the Chrome extension and smartphone app. Now for this season, I'll be wearing white gloves. I won't be touching this computer anymore without these on, just because I have kids, I have a wife, and I don't want any of that grime rubbing off on them. So we're going to do something that we haven't done before in this series. I'm gonna try to do this in every episode this season. I have black light, and we're gonna turn off all the lights and we're gonna see what kind of grime we'll pick up with that black light. Here we go. Well, on the exterior here, we've got some pretty nasty stains. I don't wanna know what that is, but I am certain it's bodily fluid. The back of the case, of course, is caked in dust. About half these grills are totally clogged. And the same goes for the front. All this white you're seeing here is dust. The entire front intake part of this front panel is caked in dust. I don't think there's any air getting through here. We've got a few additional stains on the sides here. Oh God, what a way to kick off the season. This one is worse than I thought it was. All right, let's get the lights back on. So yeah, this thing is pretty awful. Dust caked up in, well, most places you would expect. There's a lot of dust in these grills, both front and back. Even these PCI slot covers are pretty much caked in dust. The graphics card looks disgusting. The top-mounted 240mm I/O is set to intake for some reason, but that thing is caked in dust, looks awful. The front of the case, yes, that dust, that is a true blanket there. I don't think there's any airflow getting through, especially this very front section of the grill here. The cables are caked in dust. Woo-wee, this one is gonna be a cleaning perfect for the first episode of season 2 of PCDC. Now, rather than run through all of the cleaning gear that I used for these builds like I did in the last season, I'm just gonna tell you to check out the video description. That's where it all is. If you see anything I'm using, it's probably gonna be linked down there. And if you see something that's not linked down there, let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to add it. All right, folks. Yeah, this one's gonna be a journey. Here we go. Well, it is about time. It took 2 full days to clean this system. I think due in part because the case is so large. This is one of those half cases from Cooler Master, which has these really large fans. One on the side here, which obviously is missing right now with the left side panel off, and then one large one at the front as well. Those fans took a long time to clean. I know you didn't see much of it on camera, right, in the time lapse, but off camera, I mean, there was a lot of like prepping, trying to get the small little bits of dirt removed. And even in that front fans case, which is kind of transparent, I couldn't get all the dust out of the center hub of the fan. I don't want to remove those, the fan blades themselves. I just don't want to damage the fan. I don't have any replacements for that. So I left that as is, but I deep cleaned elsewhere. Of course, all these primary components are all deep cleaned with the exception again of the power supply. I do what I can, but I don't like taking these apart for reasons I've discussed in previous videos. I think the build looks revitalized. Yes, it is dated to an extent. I think this is using a Core i5 2500K, in case you're interested, and a GTX 970 from EVGA. HX 850 watt power supply is more than enough for this system. I've got a few storage drives, a 3 terabyte, 1 terabyte hard drives, and then a 128 or 120 gig SSD, which I believe is the boot drive. We've got this AIO here. This is an older Corsair 240mm AIO. I want to check and see if this actually works though, because the owner of the system told me that they were having heating issues. The CPU would get way too hot, way too fast. And that sounds to me like a pump failure. So I'm gonna check the AIO right away after booting the system up. We want to check and make sure everything is working properly, that the fans are all spinning, we're not, the fans aren't clipping against wires or anything like that. I always do that before giving these systems back to their owner. So let's plug it in, turn it on, and see what happens. All right, so let's see what we've got. Turn the power switch on at the back, power button up front. And we've got nothing. That's weird. We do have power on the board. Maybe I just didn't plug this in correctly. Oh, okay. That was weird. Definitely need to calibrate these fan curves. The pump is working, so that's a good sign. We don't need to replace the cooler. Fan up front is turning, it's lit up. Fans up top in the AIO turning, fan at the rear. I'm assuming the fan on the side panel will work when we plug that in. Graphics card fans are turning, no clipping there. The AIO is lit up. The power supply fan is turning, just slightly. Looks pretty good. Let's check the screen. Do we have a post? Yes, we do. All right. So whenever you get an error like this, I mean, it always seems like the end of the world, right? It says fatal error, system halted, like that's some big deal. These Asus boards especially, is this an Asus? Yeah, it is an Asus board. They tend to be very finicky when it comes to fan cable connections, especially these older ones. So right now I don't have a fan connected into the CPU, the primary CPU fan header. And because of that, it gives me this error. It says that there's no CPU fan. It doesn't want the system to overheat. And for some reason, that's like the fail-safe. So if we put the left side panel on, connect that CPU fan header, you can bypass this in the BIOS, by the way, if you wanted, then we shouldn't get this fatal error message anymore. And all right, so we're in the operating system, a bit finicky trying to get these things to boot. Actually, I had to disconnect the 2 hard disk drives, which don't have a boot image on them, to get this thing to post properly and without being stuck at the Windows loading screen. Anyway, I have downloaded a trial version of IDA64 to see what all the fuss was about regarding temperatures. Whatever the issue was, it seems we have fixed it because we've run this test for about 20 minutes now, which is fine enough on air. You can see temperatures aren't really fluctuating much more than they already have. We're about 70 degrees on the graphics card, which is a bit hot. I mean, especially considering we have a very large fan blowing air directly into the shroud. But the CPU, I mean, every core is pretty much at 50 degrees Celsius or below. It has not been manually overclocked, so there is plenty of additional thermal headroom there. And yeah, so whatever concerns this user had previously, they should be no more. Well, I hope this video was at the very least entertaining to watch. Maybe you learned a thing or two about cleaning components. We do have dedicated cleaning videos for specific components, including the graphics card and the motherboard, already out on the channel. You can look those up. They'll be under the how-to playlist. We also have one coming out, I believe, for AIOs, and then possibly one for cases as well. Because if you noticed, I like to use water to clean these cases, and that's not something you would think would be like the acceptable thing to do. But water works very well, much better than even compressed air in a lot of cases when we're talking about just stuck grime that's been there for several years. Air alone probably won't get all that up. I like to use water for that reason alone. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. Consider subscribing if you have not already. Be sure to send my wife an email, lisa@salazarstudios.org, if you have an extremely dirty system. Something like this will do. Obviously, it's a great way to start with one that's as dirty as this. It's as time-consuming as this to clean because it is so large. But any case like this that's this dirty will be perfect for this playlist. And if you live in the Orlando, Florida area, I want to clean it. I will be making an exception for a separate, I don't know if it's gonna be a separate series or not, but what I might be doing in the future, say you have a very old system and you don't use it anymore, it's been collecting dust, but it is extremely dirty and you don't live in the Orlando, Florida area, I might be able to buy the system off of you. Now, I'm not going to pay you insane graphics card markup prices, right? I'm not going to pay you $800 for a card with a GT 710 and an FX 8320, and it's just not going to happen. But I'll give you a fair offer, what I think to be fair. And if you think it's fair too, then we can exchange the money for the system, ship it to me, I'll cover shipping, and then I'll get to clean it, and I'll also get to give it away. So it's a business write-off in that sense. It helps me, and it helps you offload your old hardware. You get some cash for it. Again, it might not be top dollar. I can't offer top dollar everywhere. But I think this idea could work. We probably have to pace ourselves in the beginning. But if we can get sponsors to cover at least the cost of the builds that we have shipped to the office, then I think it can work. That'll open the doors up for plenty of dirty systems out there. Might not be able to do international build cleanings. It would just be insane. Like, the cost to ship a build over the Atlantic is several $100s, and you've got customs and all that crap to deal with. But at least to the contiguous 48 US states, that could work. So still in the planning phases there. More on that in a future video. But again, for now, thumbs up, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this one, and stay tuned for episode 2 in season 2. My name is Greg. Thanks for cleaning with me.